Hey, what's going on, guys? Tyler here from GarageWarrior.com, and this is the Garage Warrior podcast and video cast, and I'm super excited today to have on the call with me Nate Miyaki. How's it going, Nate?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing
How you guys
great.
doing out there?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm so grateful to have you on the call because we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. There's a lot of people who call themselves nutrition experts out there, and there's a lot of things floating around, paleo diet and carbs and intermittent fasting. And Nate, why don't you give us a 50,000-mile view? Who are you, if people don't know, and why should we listen to you about everything nutrition?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the formal stuff is I have a couple certifications in nutrition. I've been doing that for the last like 15 years, working with private clients, working with corporate wellness programs, doing nutrition talks, things like that. I write for a lot of the different magazines, a lot of the like Muscle and Fitness, Men's Fitness, T Nation type stuff. But that's all the boring formal stuff. Really, I think it's just I follow passion and obsession more than credentials, and this is
Right.
this is this is my life, man. It's what I'm into. I've studied nutrition from basically every angle, like you talked about: paleo nutrition, sports nutrition, bodybuilding and fitness nutrition, intermittent fasting protocols. I do have a background in science, so I can sift through kind of what's out there. But I apply it not only to my clients, but also myself. I've competed in bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding, done some fitness modeling stuff, although I'm not that good looking, so that didn't quite work out. But I apply it myself too. So I'm not just a coach or a writer. I'm someone who is an athlete and applies it to my own life as well. So a little bit of practical experience, a little bit of formal experience, and a lot of passion and obsession, I think, is why people might want to try and follow what I say.
That's fantastic, Nate. You bring up a great point there because the people I like to have on the call are the people who practice their stuff on other people and have proof that it works and also follow their passion because, there's way too many people out there that either say they're an expert because they're ripped and they did something to just themselves, or they say they're an expert because they helped other people but they don't follow their own advice. What's your take on kind of like the pseudo gurus in the fitness and nutrition industry these days?
There's a lot of them out there. Yeah, right. I think it's just people are going to follow who they follow, and to me, I've personally only followed the people who have that combination because, like you said, it's my experience. I've been in the field. This has been my one and only career, so I've run across everyone, in competitions and in the gym and stuff, and like you said, there's a lot of athletes who are really great at getting themselves into shape, but some of that is genetic, some of it's drugs, and they really don't know how to coach other people to do the same. And then, like you said, there's a lot of people who they can copy and paste every research abstract in the world into different forms and have great arguments, and the stuff sounds good in a lab, but in a classroom, but it doesn't work in the real world. So I think you have to have that combination to really be a good coach and to really basically help other people get results. So I think it's the combination. But people get easily caught up in marketing online. So I just say look into people's background. I mean, you can tell whether someone knows what they're talking about just by doing a little research. So like I said, I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm also willing to admit I'm not perfect, and my theories have evolved over time, and I think that's a telltale sign right there of someone who doesn't think they know it all, and is constantly trying to learn and get better and evolve and just get better as a coach. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a great point. Everybody listening to this call should really take your advice there. That's one of the things I've tried to do throughout my life is look to the people who are genuinely the best, not the people with the most certifications or PhD numbers and stuff after the name, and learn from them because everybody's accessible this day and age. It's amazing how much information you can get by just, writing some emails, picking up a phone, or, going on Facebook and messaging people. So, all right, man. Well, let's get to the meat and potatoes, huh? Let's get to the meat and potatoes. So how has your theory evolved over the years? Generally speaking, what people want to do is they want to look good naked, right? Most people want that superficial goal. But oftentimes, what people are doing nowadays is they're teaching them how to become healthier that ultimately reaches that superficial goal at the same time. So what's your philosophy? Where have you come to over the years? What's your general principles? And then we'll kind of dig into each component of it.
Yeah. Overall, and that's kind of been my journey for my own personal education too. And that's another reason to follow is because I'm selfish and vain. I want all these goals myself, so I'm working right alongside with you guys, trying to figure out this mystery, right? So,
Sure.
but yeah, I've tried to combine the best elements of a variety of approaches that are out there to come to that kind of dual goal of optimizing health and body composition at the same time. And actually, it's three goals, and to make it functional and practical and sustainable,
Right.
despite having a busy career and a social life and a family life, and not wanting to become like this obsessive fitness freak, right? So, for me, it was combining what I thought were the best elements of a variety of approaches. So, taking some lessons from paleo nutrition, predominantly food choices, right? Taking some lessons from even cultural approaches to nutrition in terms of food choices. Then looking at sports nutrition and fitness nutrition more for the numbers and how you can manipulate those to basically achieve any body composition goal that you want. So whether it's building muscle, slashing fat, recompositioning, it all comes down to getting the right numbers based on your physique goals essentially, and training levels and so forth. And then what really kind of I think was the key point for me was looking more along the lines at some of the science about meal frequency, diet structure, intermittent fasting, stuff like that, to really make it a practical and sustainable approach for busy professionals. So it was kind of taking elements from all of those and formulating, I guess, a hybrid approach from all of that research.
Sure. No, that's fantastic. So I got that good overhead view. So let's say somebody walks into your office and you're doing some consulting with them, and they're overweight and they want to lose weight and they haven't exercised or anything like that. What is the very first tip you give them? What is the very first change you try to invoke in them to allow them to take that first step to achieve that goal?
Yeah, it's really I try to use first thing I do is just try to optimize food choices and just improve. I mean, we know like most of us know that a piece of fruit is better for you than Fruit Loops, but sometimes there's so much confusion out there that it's actually that's how my theories have evolved too. I've gone towards trying to simplify people more than because 90% of the internet overcomplicates for people. So
God, yeah,
the first thing I do is I talk about different food templates because they're easy to remember and they're easy to remember and apply. Doesn't mean you're always going to do it, but at least it gives you that knowledge that you can turn to any time when you get confused about kind of what's healthy and what's not healthy, what's good for fat loss, what's not good for fat loss. So the first thing I do is say, hey, I got a couple different dietary templates I use based on whether you're sedentary or prominently sedentary or only do low intensity activity versus someone who does, as an anaerobic athlete, does high intensity training, kind of like strength training, cross training, the CT workouts that you do, right? So the templates I use are more like along the lines of a paleo approach. Hey, if a caveman ate it, you can eat it. Cutting out most modern, processed, refined foods and emphasizing animals and plants, basically. And then for anaerobic athletes, I use a slightly different template because I think carbs and starches are important to support anaerobic training, basically. And so I use one of the templates I use is what I call a traditional Japanese village diet, which is basically exactly the same thing as a paleo diet, fish, meats, vegetables, whole fruit, and then adding in a select few starches to support that training. So we keep some of the benefits of paleo, like getting rid of the sugar and gluten-based carbs, yet we add back in some, I've seen it in paleo forms called safe starches, the rice, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, and so forth to basically support that anaerobic training. So the first thing I do with people is like, hey, here's some simple food templates that cuts through a lot of the bullshit that's out there, basically.
Sure. So let's tackle that a little bit. I want to break that down just a hair. There's two questions I had involved with that. So something that people might be asking themselves, which I hear all the time, and it's hard for them to understand, is, but Nate, I'm an athlete. Why can't I eat brown rice? Why do I have to eat white rice, right? So break us down. What's the difference between brown rice and white rice, and why maybe people should lean a little bit towards the white rice rather than the brown rice?
Yeah, that's one that, man, that's online. I've written some articles on that in various spots, and people It's this controversial topic, which is funny, man. Yeah. So again, I've studied a lot of paleo nutrition, and the value of paleo nutrition is that it simplifies a lot of some of the more complex details in terms of food choices and just nutrition in general. And so, one of the things that paleo nutrition talks about in terms of cereal grains can be very problematic for human digestion because there's these compounds. One is called phytic acid. They're as a group they're called anti-nutrients, but specifically one is called phytic acid. And in the human body, it's very hard for the human body to digest it. It can block mineral absorption. It can cause a lot of GI distress, water retention, things like that. And so brown rice is like most other of these cereal grains, kind of like gluten and wheat and things like that, where this phytic acid is contained in the bran of the cereal grain. So when you eat brown rice, you're essentially eating this phytic acid, which can be hard on digestion. What's unique about white rice is that the milling of the rice, they actually remove the bran. So when the milling is what changes brown rice to white rice. When you mill it, you remove this phytic acid, and then white rice is basically just pure starch, which is exactly what you want to fuel your anaerobic activity without the toxic compound or the phytic acid. So if you look at any cultures, and beyond just the technicalities of it, if you look at any culture that eats white rice on a daily basis, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, they're all pretty much eating white rice. Whether they know why they're doing it or not is debatable, but people who eat brown rice on a daily basis can really start to develop some digestive problems. So switching over to white rice, if that's your primary starch source, I think is a better call for most people.
Yeah, that seems like some ancient wisdom that kind of got passed down to us that we forget, right? And then the marketing industry goes, wait, we don't have to mill this brown rice. We can just sell it to them straight and call it healthier, right?